This is the story of Pandu and the alliance that changed his fate. Hastinapura gained an alliance, a powerful charioteer, an unforeseen curse, a throne renounced, and a forest forever. As you have seen previously, Pandu and Kunti were married. Hastinapura rejoiced, but a kingdom's ambition never sleeps. One day, Bhishma came to Pandu with Dhritarashtra and Vidura. He said Hastinapura needed strength, security, and another alliance, and for that, another queen. He chose the kingdom of Madra, a proud warrior kingdom of the northwestern plains, rich in horses and strength. In the kingdom of Madra, there lived a princess. Her name was Madri, sister of King Shalya, daughter of the warrior north. They described her in Sanskrit as Rupena Sadrasi, unparalleled in beauty. No words could do her justice. No painting could capture her beauty. And Madri's brother, Shalya, was a proud king, the greatest master of the horses in the world. No one understood the horse like people of Madra. Their power, their fear, their breaking point. Shalya carried that knowledge in his blood. One day, Princess Madri came to her brother, a message in her hand from Hastinapura. From Bhishma himself, the message was simple. Hastinapura sought an alliance with Madra, and they sought Madri for their king Pandu. And Bhishma set out to the warrior kingdom of Madra to personally meet King Shalya and offer the alliance. Shalya welcomed Bhishma with utmost hospitality. He listened and he agreed, but on one condition. This was the custom of Madra. A proud warrior kingdom does not give away its princess. It receives what she is worth. Shalya asked for gold, both coined and uncoined, precious stones by the thousands, rich cloth, ornaments, gems, pearls, corals, elephants, horses, and chariots. Bhishma agreed without hesitation. A princess like Madri was worth every last piece. And Bhishma delivered all of it as promised. Shalya accepted with a pleased heart. The alliance was fixed, and Madri would go to Hastinapura. The wedding of Pandu and Madri was arranged with a great grandeur. As the sacred rituals began, the two kingdoms stood together, the Kurus and the Madras. Pandu and Madri were wed in a traditional way, blessed by Bhishma, the grandsire of the Kurus, and by Shalya, the proud king of Madra. And Madri entered Hastinapura like royalty because she was. The kingdom celebrated her arrival, and Queen Kunti, the first queen of Hastinapura, welcomed her with grace and poise. Pandu was a king who did not sit idle. He marched his armies across the Bharatvarsha. Dasarna, Magadha, Videha, Kasi, Anga, Kalinga, Sindhu. One by one, they fell. Hastinapura glowed with pride. Between conquests, Pandu also wandered forests with his wives, hunting at peace and happy. Until one day, a sage's curse changed everything for King Pandu and his wives. Deep in the forest, one day, sage Kindama and his wife, they had decided to transform into deer, seeking peace and solitude in the enchanted woods. On the other side, King Pandu entered the forest to hunt. He spotted two deer through the trees, and he drew his bow and released. The moment the arrow struck, the deer transformed back to Sage Kindama, wounded and furious. Blazing with divine fury, he cursed Pandu. You dared to disturb me in my sacred bond with my wife. The moment you seek that sacred bond with your wife, you shall die. And after saying this, Sage Kindama collapsed and he died. Pandu stood there, frozen, and the greatest king in Bharatvarsha had conquered kingdoms, defeated armies, made kings bow, but this he could not undo, and the curse was sealed. The news reached Hastinapura. Bhishma mourned. The kingdom wept, and Pandu, the greatest king of Hastinapura had ever seen, made his decision that he would leave the throne. And Bhishma made the decision to make Dhritarashtra as the king of Hastinapura. With that, Pandu left Hastinapura with Kunti and Madri into the forests of Himalayas, the three of them living simply, meditating, chanting, at peace, away from thrones and politics, away from expectation, and the forest became their kingdom. But before we leave the story of Pandu and his wives, remember one man, Madri's brother, King Shalya, the warrior king of Madra. Many years later, on the greatest battlefield the world had ever seen, these were not his horses. He was bought not with gold, but with a feast he could not refuse. Saptadase divase Mahayuddhasya Madra Śalyasya Sārathyam Svikrutawan Karnasya Rathasya Rasmin Dhrudamadaya Ranabhumim Pravesaha. What it means is, on the 17th day of the Great War, King Shalya of Madra accepted the role of charioteer. Taking firm hold of Karna's reins, he entered the battlefield. Sitting closest to the greatest warrior alive, he became the reason that Karna fell. The text gave it a name, Śalyasya Sārathyam, which means when your closest ally is your greatest enemy.